Welcome to the Undercast show. This is episode 2, the third episode that we've done. Joining me today are most core members. We've got Dustin.
Yep.
Greg.
Hello.
Cody.
Hello.
Myself, Christian, and Joey.
What's up?
Not to be confused with the other Joey. This is a different Joey. He's one of several Joeys under our employ. Don't confuse them. Today, we're starting off with horse balls.
Oh, we're starting
balls
with
of horses.
Balls, yep. All right.
Okay,
so for those that don't know and are not familiar with, so Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out, right? And it's said to be like the most realistic game of all time, right? So let's say you're on your horse, right? It's a cowboy game. You're on your horse. You're going through the mountains, whatever. You go up the mountains. Gets a little colder. Your horse's balls shrink into your horse's body. It's realistic, and you can see it all happening. Go back down the mountain. The horse balls drop. That's the future of gaming, folks. Is the horse
next hair physics?
Yeah, it's like
horse
one-upping hair physics. Yeah. Well, so okay, I guess our topic isn't actually like focused on horse balls. It's kind of just Red Dead Redemption 2 in general. Just because
I think it's the most important part of it.
It is the most important part. That's the part that everyone's commenting on when they go see this game at preview events. First thing to come out of the room saying is, "Man, those horse balls." But no, so like there's all these different game mechanics in Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Like you can't in GTA 5, for example, you walk into the haircut place and you just like poof, you got a new haircut. You know what I mean? Like oh, now it's longer, shorter. Yeah, exactly. In Red Dead, you have to actually grow out your hair, which could take, like 2 in-game hours to like grow your hair, and then you can go and get it cut.
That's excellent. Everything I've ever wanted in an RPG.
Yeah, and weird, crazy things like, okay, so you walk into a town, everyone there has like a job. They go do their job. Each one has like their own dialogue tree, and they're all affected by things you've done in the past and all this stuff.
Like you kill some woman's son, so then like you come into the town the next day and she sees you, like, you fucker.
Yeah, exactly, and gets like everyone else riled up, and they start, they chase you out of town or whatever.
And it gives you an opportunity to like dissuade things or settle it with violence, or like you said, just peace out. I am kind of curious how they're gonna measure like diplomatic skills. I don't think they're just making it a stat. I think it's straight. Like you have to act in a certain way to get that, from what I can tell.
Like Fallout 3, kind of.
Yeah, it's weird because Fallout 3, you could see your like how you were with every faction. If I'm not correct, right? Like, oh, the Brotherhood of Steel likes you this much, or was that New Vegas? I can't remember.
No, yeah. Well, it wasn't like a 5-tier system, something like that. There was like they liked you, they were like friendly with you, and like whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so has anyone played the original Red Dead, or?
I played parts of it.
Yeah, I think it was only on. It wasn't on PC.
Was it even released for PlayStation?
I played it
I
on
think it was only on Xbox.
Xbox exclusive. It's not gonna be exclusive this time though.
No, I played it on PlayStation. That's how I played it.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think it might have been later. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so like this new one, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. I hope it's not overhyped, kind of like No Man's Sky or something like that. But it is Rockstar, so I mean, like they pretty much only make great games.
And then they turn around to the modders who help make their games great, and they fuck them in the ass.
Yeah, I don't know why they're so against modding. Like I get it in multiplayer, but single player you should just be, for it. I don't know.
I think they don't want their games to turn into like Skyrim, Bethesda out games where it's like at the moment the game comes out, people are working on like anime big titty every NPC. Because I understand that, because I feel like it would kind of make your game less authentic if people saw it. People like, oh, you playing Red Dead Redemption 2? And he's like, yeah, and he's riding like a horse made of anime tits.
Yeah, that's true. It does seem like they're kind of going for more realism with this one, as opposed to, even though GTA 5 was, kind of real, but the physics is, leaves
They were
something to
really
be
dumb.
desired. Yeah, stuff like that. Oh, sorry, Joey. What's up?
Sorry, didn't they do a showcase on like one of their, what is it? It's like the Deadeye system? Was that what they called it?
Yeah, the slow motion, like,
There was some Max Payne shit.
yeah. I can't remember if that was in the original. I can't remember. But
I don't think, because they introduced it like it was, like they were pretty big on it. Like, look at this. This is new.
yeah, I was watching like this dumb, like, I don't know, trailer breakdown or whatever it was for the new gameplay thing that they released. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but as the guy's dying, right? Like your main character shoots a guy, and then he's falling down. He's like stumbling over himself. It's like blood, like looks super realistic, and his feet are like messing with the gravel, and the gravel like interacts in a certain way that, like, every rock in the gravel rolls differently than the other ones. All this weird stuff, and like the water physics, all this insane stuff that hasn't really been seen in video games before.
If they actually animate people like taking off and putting on socks, that's how you'll know that this game is great. If they don't just like fiddle with the sock for a second and then like boom, it's on their foot. I want to see like actual physics on it's curling over the feet. Maybe it gets kind of stuck on their heel a little bit. He's really pulling it up. That'll be the mark of a truly next generation game. They can fuck around with water all they want. They can code the individual grains of sand, but until I see someone putting on socks, I don't give a shit.
It's like the classic, like the heel isn't where the heel is supposed to be, so you have to take the whole sock off again and like turn it a little bit,
like abandoned ship.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I just wanted to just comment on the game's coming out next week, and it's probably going to take over the world. It's going to be all anyone's talking about.
I feel like Spider-Man did not have a very long time in the limelight. No, it seems like a great game.
So Spider-Man, it has topped like the sales. I think it's like the fastest selling PS4 game of all time, in like a, I don't know, week span or something like that. It was the highest selling game for September. So I think it's doing well, but it's single player, right? And it's not as flashy as something like Red Dead, where they've been working on it for 8 years or whatever.
Like 9
I mean, it's also like a brand new thing that they're doing. It's not like, like it's like Red Dead's like it's Red Dead Redemption 2. So like fans of Red Dead are looking forward to this a lot more, and they're hyping it up. Whereas like when it's a new game, you can't be like, oh, in the last game, they did this. Like, you can't do that.
Right, and it's something to say about kind of Rockstar and their like prestige, their clout or whatever. It's like when they can just drop a game whenever they want, and it's gonna sell gangbusters, right? Like they don't have to worry about competing with any other game. They're gonna eat any other game's lunch. So we just saw Battlefield 5 pushed its release date back, like I think it's almost a month, because they were like it went Call of Duty 1 week, Red Dead the next week, and then their game is supposed to release. And it's like you're going against like the two heavy hitters, right?
Yeah.
So they ended up just pushing the game back. They said something about how, we want to make the game perfect and all this stuff. I think it's just because they didn't want to compete with Call of Duty and Red Dead, which is kind of smart business-wise. But
so they're doing like the opposite of what Assassin's Creed Odyssey did. But I mean, not that anybody with any sense has the barest amount of respect for fucking Ubisoft at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Like they've got games that are still trucking, like For Honor and Rainbow Six Siege, still putting out new content. But then like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed comes out like every year, and it's just, I don't know. Apparently, this new Assassin's Creed is really good, and it changes the formula enough to like justify.
They took out a lot of trailing missions, and that's it. Really, the story looks interesting as well. What people are saying is that the lore is good.
Yeah,
there's still just ass loads of game-breaking bugs. The physics in the game just like don't work.
Yeah, that's a classic.
And apparently they're doubling down on what they did in the last one, where they started introducing a lot of grinding elements, which like if people want to grind, they'll go pay a good MMO. In this one, it's the same thing, except it even impacts like the main story. It's not just so you can be like good in combat. You literally cannot progress the story unless you do like a bunch of these little side missions that are just these grinding, repetitive. Like it's like this. It's like it's like the staple filler crap that you see in an MMO when like they're just low on time. Yeah, like a little fetch quest, little like dumb stuff. I mean, like the game isn't built around that. A game like WoW, it's built to like you can do a boring thing, but you're in WoW, so it makes it kind of cool if you're like a big fan of the game. In Assassin's Creed, you're literally just like a dude in a skirt delivering this basket of like ass grapes. I don't. I think they're called olives.
Was it?
I like the setting though, but
setting is definitely cool, but like we know that they can make environments look cool. They've proven that they can do that again and again. What they haven't proven is that they can make an environment that's worth being in at all.
One thing I do have to say about the game is I think they got rid of a lot of the those sections where like you'd come back into like the real life, whatever it was.
Oh, I hate that stuff. That was always the worst.
Yeah, like I think they got rid of a lot of that, if all of it completely, if I'm not wrong. So like that's at least a good step. Yeah.
I never care about like the original like Desmond story and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was just like, please bring me back to killing people.
Yeah, like none of the characters are interesting or likable. Little fucking cardboard cutouts.
So that's not why I played Assassin's Creed. It was for this dude I was trying to play to be Ezio or whatever.
I'm just waiting for Assassin's Creed Japan. That's all I want.
That'll probably be next. Honestly, they're kind of running out of.
They're running out of periods in Greg, I can hear you munching. They're running out of periods in history where they can drop the assassin and like have it be, fun.
Yeah.
They haven't done like a Viking themed Assassin's Creed yet, but I think that's only because like how would you tell the difference? And there's been so many games that have that sort of setting.
Assassin's Creed Caveman.
The Far Cry Primal, dude. They already did that.
Yeah,
I don't know. So what is everyone's experience with Assassin's Creed? Did anyone like the last one I played, like really played, was probably the pirate one?
Black Flag.
Black Flag, yeah. That one's pretty good. Just because the ship combat was like new and interesting, but I didn't play it very long.
I completed that. I think that was like their peak after like their first game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I definitely. I mean, they had ship combat in this one too, but I think that obviously, I don't think they improved on the system too much. Is like the problem. Like they didn't make it a shit ton better.
I think they just threw it in to like appease people who were like, "Oh, the ship combat in Black Flag, we want that back." They're like, "Oh, okay, here it is. This is the same stuff from like 8 years ago. It's the same thing."
It is pretty crazy how many Assassin's Creeds there have been.
Like I never really got into the franchise. I never really had many of the systems that it was played on. Some friends of mine had it on like their Xboxes and stuff, so I would play it there. It just seems like I think one of the worst yearly franchises that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean they did take their break there, and I think they have multiple teams working on it, so it's kind of like a revolving door sort of thing. But yeah,
I just hate that it makes them money. I am disgusted that they make any money on these fucking games, because I know exactly who's playing them. It's people like none of you guys know who this is, but a friend of mine is like little brother. It's like the 14-year-old kid sitting in the living room, like, cut their heads off, jumpy jump! Look at how cool I am. I'm the globe-trotting elite assassin with a hood, and I'm so edgy, and I'm gonna kill this man and then kiss this female protagonist, and it's gonna be great. And then they go and like get bored and play Fortnite.
It's the not hardcore gamer, right? It's the person who buys Madden every year with FIFA, and they always get the Assassin's Creed. Those are like the three, like yearly franchises.
Yeah. I think like, why do they bother like with the amount that they actually play video games? You think that they'd be set with just like buying one of them, and then for 5 years they just play that.
Yeah. I always thought a good idea for like Madden or something was just to have like the base game you buy 1 year, and then just every year just add like the new player pack and all that stuff. and just like make improvements over. Like, you treat it as like a service instead of like Madden 16, Madden 17, Madden 18.
But they would never be able to make as much money off of that as they do now, because there's no way they could charge people like a World of Warcraft style monthly service fee for that sort of game.
Dude, no, they have. So people who play, it's weird, right? They have this whole like card system, like loot box, make your dream team thing, and that makes so much money. Like that makes way more money than like selling the game. So I don't know. They could keep doing that. I don't know. That's just an idea. It's not gonna happen because you could double dip, sell the game, and also do the card system thing, and then turn around next year and do the same thing. So, yeah. Do you want to? So I think we should get into the meat, the meat of this. Let's talk about Venom. So we all saw Venom last night.
Still fresh in our minds, fresh and black and gooey.
So gooey. What did everybody think?
I really liked it. I wouldn't go to the extent that I would say it was a really good movie, but when I watched it, I thought it was really good. You know what I mean?
It was fun, right? Like it's
like I'd give it like a 9 out of 10, but I wouldn't give it 4.5 stars. You know what I mean?
9 out of 10, dude. 9 out of 10.
I like when I watched it. Like that's what I'm saying is that 1 is for the experience and 1 is for the movie itself. I had a 9 out of 10 for the experience, but the movie itself, I would say, was not worth like 4 or above stars as far as its actual quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What did other people think? Just general thoughts about it.
I liked it. I give it like an 8.
Oh, 8. All right.
Out of like 12 or something.
Out of 12. Okay. It's pretty arbitrary, but yeah.
Joey,
I think it was good. I think they could have done a little bit more plot stuff, which would have made it such a better movie. But they kind of just like the movie is very straightforward.
Yeah. What would you rate it if you had to rate it?
I'd probably give it like an 8. Like I would see it once and I would never see it again.
That's the thing, right? That's it for me. Like I don't know if I would necessarily see it again. Like we paid $9 for our tickets. That was a pretty good price. I wouldn't pay more than that.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
If it came on Netflix, I would definitely watch it again.
Yeah, if it came out on a service I was already paying for.
If I went home and like my brother hadn't seen it, I'd go see it with him, pay $9.
I'd give it I'd probably give it 6 parasites out of 10.
Parasite. Dustin, what did you think?
That was alright. But I kind of wish it was R-rated. Would have been a little more.
So they still have the R-rated cut of the movie. That'll be like a DVD release. That I am looking forward to. Cool. I will definitely buy that if that becomes a thing.
It seems like it should have been, right? Like, I mean, you got Venom, who's super, I don't know, he's supposed to be like this badass, eating people. Like, okay, so, and multiple times in the movie, they talk about, oh, I bit that guy's head off, right? I didn't see them bite anybody's head off.
No.
Well, like, you see him
the lady,
Did you see like blood and stuff?
Or whatever.
No.
Did that.
You actually did. You saw the back. I'm pretty sure you saw the back of his body without the head there, and then he falls over before you would see like the blood fountain. Yeah, the R-rated cut of that movie would probably be, because I think that also has the sex scene between Tom Hardy and I don't remember the actor's name. What I want to see is like they have the scene where it's Eddie Brock and Anne and Venom all like this weird 3-way making out thing because they're transferring a symbiote, but also kissing. I want to see that in an end credit scene, but it's a sex scene.
I don't think I want to see that.
It's not an arousal thing. It's not something I think would be attractive. It's just something that I feel like the world needs to have. Think of how much better off we'd be if that existed.
Does it though?
Does it?
I know we'd be different off. I don't know if better's the right word.
Oh wait, is it okay? So we haven't really spoiled. Do we want to like? I don't know if anybody's listening to it that hasn't seen it, doesn't want spoilers. Should we like warn them?
Spoilers. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I don't know.
came into a. This is
All
this is obviously going to be titled something to do with Venom. If you don't come into a podcast about a movie and not expect people to spoil it a little bit, we'll have our podcast lackey put like a timestamp or like past here there's spoilers. So if you want to skip spoilers, go between here and here, which are probably just between like it'll be between 15
Here
minutes
and right.
and the end.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess maybe what is everybody's favorite part? What was your favorite like scene? Because I'll start. My favorite scene was every time he said, "I got a parasite."
I who would have thought that would be your favorite scene?
Or actually, my favorite. There was one point in the movie. I don't know if you guys heard Nick laughing, but okay. So, Venom or so Eddie Brock like breaks his legs or some shit, right? And he jumps in, and Venom jumps in the lake, and they're swimming, and they pop out, and they're like safe. And Eddie goes, "Oh, my leg! Ah, wait, my leg is broken, and now it's not." And that's like a real line in the movie.
I heard Nick laughing.
Yeah, Nick started laughing so hard after hearing that.
It was a great line.
It's nuts.
I mean, like,
It's
what
nuts.
the hell would you say? Your leg's broken, and then you jump in a lake, and you come back out, and you're like, "Oh, my leg used to be broken."
My leg was broken 2 minutes ago, but now it's not.
I don't know if I'd be able to put together the right words for that either.
Yeah, maybe just like don't include it. I don't know. Be like,
I liked it. I'm glad that it was in the movie.
just weird stuff like that.
That's exactly so.
It seemed kind of like forced.
That's what makes
in a
Venom
way,
Venom.
You know, like,
yeah, that's true.
He could have just been like, "Oh shit, what the fuck happened to my legs?" And then Venom would have been like, "Don't worry, I sewed everything back together." You know, like something, not like
That sounds so
Venom-
basic. Is the thing that's so like
more basic than
vanilla
my
audio,
leg.
you know?
My leg was broken. Now it's not. Except Tom Hardy in this movie's got like kind of a lispy sort of thing going on for some reason. He's like, "Ow, I don't know, my leg. Ow, it's
Well, because
fixed."
he's doing an American accent.
I don't know. There were some points in the movie where he lost his accent for like a line, and then he kicked right back up again. I'd rather just have him be like more normal dude, you know?
I don't
I don't know.
No, that's like Eddie Brock is just like he's a piece of shit. He's just this like alcohol. Like, even in the comics, he's this alcoholic. Like lost his girlfriend. He in the comics he was like diagnosed with this disease that was gonna kill him in 2 days for one of them. Part of his origin. It's like as if he didn't have enough shit going on. It makes sense that he was just this really like sweaty, kind of gross reporter guy who was like stumble over his words.
But okay, so that's half true, except he's like the top reporter in like the nation. He's like going all over places. He's taking down large corporations and all this stuff. What if he was just like not the top dude? Like maybe he's like on the news sometimes, but maybe he's not like he doesn't have the Eddie Brock show, you know?
But you say the Eddie Brock show like it's a hard thing to have. Think of the Alex Jones show, dude.
I guess that's true.
Not that it's called that, but that's basically what it is.
See, my favorite part in that whole movie was when he went into that restaurant and he's like, "Is it hot in here? This is really hot, isn't it?" He goes and sits down with the lobsters.
That part was pretty nuts. I like that part.
When he's in the when he got in the lobster tank, I immediately thought like, oh, he's gonna eat a lobster, and then he just chills and it's like, oh, okay, so he's just in there to be cool, and then the moment he sees his own move, he just starts tearing into it.
I like when he's grunting and eating the lobster and making all these like crazy animal noises, and the guy's like, "Yo, Eddie, like, are you okay, dog? Like, what up?" And he's like,
That's what I think is great about it, is that that scene was one of the, I think, the most real scenes in the movie where like a crazy guy walks into a restaurant like that. That's how people would handle it. Like most would just keep their distance and watch him. The doctor there who knows him is like, "Hey man, you know what's going on?" They wouldn't, because I think about if this movie came out like 10 years ago, that scene would have been like he walks into the restaurant and is looking all crazy, and then he had like security kicks his ass and throws him back onto the street, which is with the other degenerates.
I did like all the crazy parts where Venom or Eddie Brock was like, you could kind of seen like the two sides of it, right? There was Eddie Brock who's like trying to be normal, and then Venom who's like really hungry, just wants tater tots, right?
Venom doesn't. He wanted food, and Eddie Brock thought of food as tater tots. Venom didn't think of food as tater tots. He thought of it as living things because the symbiotes can't.
I mean, he did at the end. He's like, "Yo, what do you want to eat?" you can't kill anybody, and Venom's like, I just want tater tots.
Right, but that's like what he got from Eddie. It was Eddie's absolute voracious hunger for tater tots that must have converted Venom to want to save.
I
the
think
planet.
that's the only thing Eddie had besides chicken, old chicken inside of the trash can, which he still ate anyways. Oh, that throw up scene was really gross. I'm just gonna say that real quick.
Oh yeah.
R-rated. They get to keep the vomit.
Yeah, I want to know like the rules for that stuff. Like,
I think you can show vomit all day, as long as it's not like all bloody. I think it's fine.
I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because his bathroom was already like covered in like shit and mold.
Oh yeah, like he puts his head near the toilet. Like, don't touch the toilet with your forehead, dude. That shit looks like, oh my god, it looked like an old hamburger bun.
His nose was definitely touching the water there. For
He was
sure.
touching everything. I love how sweaty he was the whole movie.
He
Like he's
was
in that
very
one gray
He was
sweatshirt
wet the
where
whole
he
time.
looks soaked. I love it. It's so fucking good.
Just imagine someone's job on like set was to make sure he continued to be sweaty.
Yeah,
like,
like you're fresh out of film school, and you just like your job is making Tom Hardy look moist. That's it.
That's what I think is great about it. Is like there's a distinctly different appearance in a shirt, like a thick shirt, like a sweatshirt that's been sweat on from the inside, and one that's like just had water put on it. I think it was clear that they had water put on the or whatever they used put on the inside of the sweatshirt to make it look like he actually was just sweating. Like you don't really get that gradient from putting it on the outside. A lot of work went into making Eddie Brock look like this. Went into making Tom Hardy look just as sweaty as possible.
I will say, so there was this interview that Tom Hardy was doing. So I forgot what side it was or whatever, but they asked him, "Oh, what's your favorite part of the movie?" That's a pretty standard question for you're interviewing the guy in the movie, And Eddie Brock or Tom Hardy goes, "Oh, they actually cut my favorite parts out. There's 20 minutes that they cut out. Those were all my favorite parts."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so hopefully the R-rated cut, if there is such a thing, I'm sure there is when it comes to DVD. That'll probably include some, because like the fight scenes, I mean, they weren't bad, right? I like the one with all the smoke. That one was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just like Venom, just like jumping around and being like sort of sneaky and
bites a smoke grenade with his teeth, and then just goes.
Yeah, I like the look of Venom too. They got him down. That was pretty neat look.
Yeah.
I want to touch on this. To all the people who were like, how can you have a Venom without Spider-Man? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow. Why is he Venom? Why does he look like just Black Spider-Man? I want to give a now post-movie, as same with my pre-movie, fuck you. Stop existing and acting like you know anything about the fucking cinematic universe versions of these comics.
I kind of wish there could possibly be a Spider-Man in a future movie in this whole Sony like Spider-Verse thing, but like without Spider-Man. That's kind of like I thought at first when they were in San Francisco, right? I'm like, oh, is it still in the same universe? And like they're just getting away from New York. But like Ant-Man and all those guys are from San Francisco, so
it's not that you can like judge it all that much just because they've lied before, but they have been vehement from the beginning that this is completely outside of the MCU and has nothing to do with even previous Sony movies regarding Spider-Man. I think it's you had said yesterday that they're working on a sequel.
Yeah, I mean it seems pretty obvious from the end credits that it's gonna be, and plus the movie's doing really well in the box office, so like I'm sure they're gonna make a sequel.
Honestly, as much as I like the movies, Venom is the sort of character, or like Venom and Eddie Brock, or they're one and the same. They have the sort of character dynamic that I think is better suited to the what I think a comic book really translates well to is like a show. Because the best parts of the movie were just Eddie Brock and Venom interacting. That's true. Where like most of the humor comes from. That's where a lot of like the the narration into the character, or the look into the characters' feelings, it comes from those two interacting.
Yeah, I definitely wanted more of them.
Let's just say, like, what did
It's
they
probably
they
in those
made
20
the
minutes,
movie
man.
and then they make like a show. I don't think they would, but I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting Tom Hardy for a syndicated TV show, unfortunately.
Netflix adaptation.
They did just cancel Iron Fist. I don't know if anybody here has kept up with the whole Marvel TV shows. Like
I'm guessing it was still bad. It continued
Yeah.
to be bad, so they
I've
canceled it.
I've only seen like Luke Cage. I watched Jessica Jones. I've seen like Daredevil season 1 and 2. But yeah, I didn't watch Luke or what's his name? Iron Fist got canceled. So
Probably for the best.
yeah, it's probably for the best.
See, the one thing about Venom that I wish they did was there was one scene in the movie where he was like, "Wait, why did you change sides?" And then Venom's like, "Because of you." And I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What along your journey like made you change?" Like, there was no scene in the movie where like Venom like was like, "Dude, you're a cool guy." Like this, like that was awesome. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing other than the scene where he was like, "Oh, your world's very pretty." Like that was it. That was it. Like
That's one of
you
those
hear
things.
him.
Like
You hear him talking about he's warming up to Eddie, and that was definitely, I think, from the Tom Hardy interview, a lot of the interaction between Venom and Eddie Brock, where it's like him warming up to Earth and people, comes like that's when some of the shit they cut out for whatever reason, issues of length.
yeah.
What's the harm in having a longer movie?
I don't understand. Can we be fine with movies being on average half an hour longer than they are right now? Because I'd be perfectly fine.
It was 1 minute 12 or sorry, 112 minutes, so it's almost 2 hours.
honestly, I would watch a 3-hour movie.
Think of how many movies there have been where it's like, oh man, so many things in this movie would have made sense if it weren't for like the 20 minutes to half an hour that they cut out. Like look at Black Panther. Black Panther, there's so many scenes that make the movie feel so much better. Not that it wasn't a good movie, but like they cut out all the scenes that were between Okoye, or the leader of the border tribe and Okoye, who was the female general, who were husband and wife, and everyone in the movie forgot that they were husband and wife, like halfway through until the end, where it's like, "Would you kill me, my love?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, they're together." They had this whole like 15-minute dialogue going on between them, discussing, like T'Challa had just been killed. She was like, "How can you stand by? He was your friend," all that sort of stuff. If that sort of thing was the stuff that they kept in these movies, I just feel like they would, from a critical perspective, they would just be so much better. But it's always the money people in the back, like, no, it has to be within this set length, and you can't have anything controversial, otherwise we'll lose money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Casper has a good point there. We could bring back intermissions.
I think 6 hours is pushing it though.
Yeah, 6 hours is a bit long, especially if you want like a night movie.
Yeah,
We're talking 9 to 1 a.m.
Yes.
Because okay, we've seen
or 9 to 3.
Dustin, we saw what was that Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he's like getting chased by a bear for like
The
The
Revenant.
Revenant.
Yeah, that movie's pretty long. Also we
Yeah.
saw the Hateful Eight.
The Godfather. What about that?
Godfather's
It's a long movie.
Wolf of Wall Street, super long.
Yeah.
Like I broke that movie down into like 2 different sittings just because it's so long.
So good.
There's movies that are too long. This was not one of them. I would maybe see like 15 more minutes of this.
I mean, you got to sit through 20 minutes of credits to get like a 5-minute clip
The Spider-Verse thing.
of a cartoon.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't need like 6-hour movies. I don't need like Lord of the Rings extended cut length. Just that there's that extra like 15 to half an hour, or 15 minutes to 30 minutes that they cut out of the movie, where it was like potentially very important stuff to the plot, and they just cut it out. They trim it for the sake of length because that's what their producers tell them to do. Can we just get rid of that? Can we just stop doing that? Obviously, movies need to be trimmed a lot. It happens. It's very common practice to trim the movies. It's necessary, but just like add 20 minutes to all these movies that keep cutting out that 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a
wouldn't mind.
bad sign to cut out all of like Tom Hardy's favorite parts. It just
Yeah, because dude,
seems
Tom
like a bad
Hardy's
idea.
actually like really excited about this project. Like he was all on board. and it kind of, it's not probably what he thought it was going to be.
Because wasn't he was a producer on it, so I imagine he would have some say in like.
Yeah.
Those people have more say than he does.
I think
sure.
a lot of the time, Dustin, is like all the top billed actors, they get listed as a producer as well, just to like have it on their IMDb sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know if they like
just like producer by name, not really.
Yeah. Actually, who directed Venom? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Oh, but real quick, I just do want to mention that the audience score gave it on Rotten Tomatoes is 89%, and the tomato meter is listed as rotten 30%. So the critics hated it, but the audience just loved it. So
that's what I was saying. Like before we saw it, I mentioned like, yeah, this movie got terrible reviews, but everyone I've asked about it, who's like a person and not a website, says, yeah, I liked it. It was good. You had asked before. The director of Venom is Ruben Fleischer. Fleischer. I don't know.
Oh, so
Flycatcher.
the guy who did Zombieland. All right, that makes a little more sense.
What did you guys think of the score? Because I liked it a lot.
The score I actually did not like.
You didn't like the score?
I like the end. Some like the actual score, right? The soundtrack was not good at all. The soundtrack is bad. Remember that scene where it's like him riding his cool motorcycle through the city, the cut of all the journalism he's done, like wow, that's cool. But the song they played when he was like walking up to his workplace building, awful. It's very bad.
See, maybe they were going for something really meta, because the first parts of this movie where it's Eddie fucking up, maybe they wanted the music to be bad, because a lot of people didn't like those like really early bits in the movie. So they're like, let's give it a bad score. Let's have Eddie be cringy, and then, when he starts fucking his life up, he starts getting down in the gutter. Then we pick the music up because now it's getting interesting. Now he's living alone. He's buying egg salad sandwiches from a gas station or some shit. The main Venom theme though, what did you like with the really? I thought it sounded really different. I don't know.
Completely indifferent.
Completely different. You think, Cody? Like, so maybe not the score, but like the actual originally composed music for the film.
Yeah, the score. I think there's the score, and then there's the soundtrack. Soundtrack's like, the extra songs, actual people, like it's songs that have been on the radio or whatever that they're just like, oh, hey, we'll put that in our movie, whatever. But yeah, the score is where you have like orchestra music, sort of thing. The end fight was cool. I like that music. When Eddie was falling down and like fire and stuff like that.
I would like to watch that end fight again for the sole fact of there was a lot going on screen.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't like how it's the classic thing about Marvel movies are very guilty of this too, right? Where the villain is just the good guy but like a different color. Like they have the same powers, like Ant-Man. Oh, he fights the yellow jacket guy, right? It's like they both shrink. I don't know. A lot of Marvel movies do that too. Iron Man. Oh, it's Iron Man fighting bigger Iron Man.
Ironmonger.
Sure, yeah. It's just something that you see in Marvel movies a lot. And I guess, what would Venom fight? I guess it makes sense he'd fight another symbiote from the comics called Riot, who's like gray instead of black, but
Silver.
Sure.
Dude, he is the captain now.
I thought it was cool when Venom talks about Riot. He's like, this guy, he's got weapons. I don't have any of that. This is gonna suck.
I am a loser, just like you.
Oh yeah. It's like on my planet, I'm a loser, just like you. The movie was funny. Give it that. You know what I mean? It's pretty funny. I laughed a couple times.
Yeah, they didn't take themselves too seriously. There weren't any like morning shots of snapping his girlfriend's neck.
Just brooding.
Yeah.
Moping.
It was pretty mopey near them after he broke up with his girlfriend. It was kind of mopey a little bit.
Right, but it was mopey, but like with purpose. It was just to show that he was down on his shits, and then when he gets Venom, it's like, oh, now stuff's picking up. It wasn't like you look at Man of Steel, where the tone never changes in that fucking movie. It's never like triumphant. It's never peaceful. It's always just like dark and brooding, and it's fucking Superman. Not that
Was
I
his
want.
life picking up though? Because he was slowly being eaten from the inside.
Well, that's. Here's the thing. A lot of people issued this, and I had a problem with this being a problem. Although I can understand it because like they didn't cover it explicitly. The only reason that Eddie's body, like the inside of Eddie's body, was degenerating was because he wouldn't let Venom eat people. Like the symbiote has to consume other living things to survive. That's why at the end you see he's like, all right, we're working out ground rules. You're gonna be able to eat people, but like only the people that I say, because he understands that it's necessary. So like the Venom had started eating away at his insides because he hadn't fucking eaten anything. So it wasn't like an unresolved plot point. It was just like something they figured out off screen, sort of.
Do you guys remember that scene where he's like brushing his teeth and then he like freaks out and like knocks himself out?
Yeah.
He had toothpaste in his mouth, right? But then next time he wakes up, there's no toothpaste. Stuff like that really kind of pulls me out of the.
There was toothpaste in his mouth.
No,
When he
there
wakes up in the bathtub?
absolutely was not toothpaste in his mouth. I checked. I
Are
looked.
you sure?
I mean,
I could have
hey,
sworn he had like white stuff.
I would love to be
Did you
proven
ask
That
him?
wasn't toothpaste.
He definitely swallowed all that toothpaste.
Maybe
he
I'm
didn't
thinking
spit
like
him
when
out.
he was knocked out and you see the
I think
shot of
that's
him
the
in the bath.
last of his worries there.
He
Swallowing toothpaste.
swallowed a little fluoride, I think. Yeah.
That's when he started going downhill.
I also didn't like the part where like when he got the MRI or whatever it was, right? And the other doctor was looking at his fucking thing and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then he didn't tell the main doctor anything. He just let him look at it later.
I like how Eddie's like freaking out inside of this thing, right? He's like screaming and like convulsing and having like a seizure in there. And the guy, doctor, what is his name? Like Dan or something?
Dan.
He's like, "Yo, Eddie, how you doing in there? You okay?"
Because like a lot of people get claustrophobic and kind of freak out in those things. But yeah, that was a little like just pull the switch, man. Hit the button.
His legs are shaking, dude.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
like,
His knees are weak in there.
See, why did
arms
he even
shaking.
help him at all throughout that movie though? Like what
Dan?
was his yeah.
Okay, so
I
the
looked at
perspective
it
was
as-
like Dan's in a relationship with Anne.
he wants to look good for Anne. Like he's like, also maybe he's just a good guy. He seemed kind of just like
Yeah.
a good guy. I thought
Like
they're
this-
gonna play him as kind of like a douchebaggy sort of guy.
It's played out.
But
Douchebag,
Yeah.
new boyfriend, played out.
yeah,
See, Eddie was just like in his head. Eddie was just this sick man who is his ex's or his girlfriend's ex, and he's like, I should really help this guy out. I don't want to just like blow him off because that could cause tension, or in general, like he's a doctor. It's kind of his job.
yeah.
So-
I guess I'm. It seemed like Eddie was trying to find reasons to not like the guy, but the guy's actually like super cool.
Yeah, Eddie wasn't even particularly hostile towards him. That's the thing. He wasn't like getting in fights with him really, except for when he was trying to get the symbiote out and he grabbed his neck, but that was more Venom.
It's true.
Like
No more MRIs.
That's what I kind of liked about the relationship between him and Anne was like he wasn't being like super assholey and possessive, even though he was an asshole. When he sees Anne with her new boyfriend, he's like, "Oh, that's good. I hope he's like a good guy. I miss you." He's not like trying to fight the guy, being this like alpha douchebag, trying to get back in. I got to silverback my way through this.
Okay,
You mean
so
he's acting like a
little-
mature adult?
Yeah. Okay, so a little piece of trivia, right? I guess Tom Hardy's son is a fan of Venom, and Hardy took the role to please him. And I guess like the son was like telling him how Venom should act and stuff, since Hardy didn't know like anything about Venom.
Huh.
How old's the son?
I'm not sure, it doesn't say, but I thought that was a little interesting.
That actually is really cool.
What do you, Greg? What do you think, Greg, specifically about how they're portraying this like Carlton Drake guy? He kind of seemed like Elon Musk, right? Were you getting like an Elon Musk?
Yeah, I was absolutely getting an Elon Musk feel,
vibe?
but I mean, I could also kind of see Elon Musk doing some shady shit. So
yeah,
Killing
yeah.
homeless
Call them
Yeah.
pedophiles.
Just hiring homeless people and just
instead of Tesla car
slaughtering them.
dummies, he uses the homeless.
I like this. He had this like god complex. He was, I don't know. I thought it was cool. He was more interesting before he had the symbiote, I think. Once the symbiote was there, then he became like standard villain. But before that, he was like, oh, I'm the guy who's trying to like save humanity, but not in the like bring balance to it by killing everybody sort of way. In the I want to make sure we can survive in space kind of way.
I like the doctor when he's like, have you been feeding them? He's like, dude, we've been giving this guy enough food for a fucking elephant. Like, we don't know what to do with these things.
They haven't been giving him any people to eat. That was the issue.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of like I don't really remember them. I didn't read the symbiote comics like at all really. The blue and the yellow symbiote. What do you think they did? What do you think they looked like? I think they were
like Venom, but blue and yellow.
so you think they were literally just like? Well, I thought that was the kind of thing that set Venom apart. Was like he wasn't one of the strongest symbiotes.
Well, so that's interesting, right? Because if they're gonna, Carnage is gonna be obviously like kind of gonna be the next guy. Because that guy in the cell was something Cassidy, who's turns out to be Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson, I guess. So I guess Woody Harrelson's in the Spider-Verse, and he's gonna be Carnage.
That guy's in almost every other movie.
It's weird, right? Like, isn't it kind of weird? Like, it took stuff like that kind of takes me out of the movies. Like, oh, Woody Harrelson, what's he doing in the movie? Also they did the Wilhelm scream, and I kind of hate when movies do that. It's like super played out.
Dustin laughed when they did that.
Yeah, it's like, oh my! Like,
At this point, I think as much as it's an immersion ruiner, I think you kind of have to have one.
Do you?
No,
I don't
no.
think you do.
I actually think it is part of the Constitution.
It's part. It's part of the Articles of Confederation.
Yeah, those things.
Did you guys know that they came out with like what is it, the symbiote backstory comic like a little while ago?
Oh yeah,
yeah?
where he's from like a planet. Like there's this guy who I forgot his name, who like started all the symbiotes like a trillion, million, gazillion years ago. Is that what you're talking about? Joey?
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking up the guy's name. Yeah, and then they all were like, "Fuck you," and then they caged him in themselves or something like that.
Yeah, so like the planet is made out of symbiotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing about comics. Like they're really expensive, and also they've been going for approximately 100 years. So it's kind of convoluted and like super hard to follow. It's kind of hard to jump in.
Yeah. Noel, that was his name.
Noel, yeah, that was his name. I don't know.
What do you think they're gonna go with a sequel if they made one, which they will?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Venom versus Carnage, I guess.
Right, but I'm trying to think like what angle do you think they're gonna take on it?
I think Carnage is going to be murdering a shit ton of people because that's what he does. And then, Venom's going to be like, well, I guess a decent guy now. So, I can't allow this.
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
Anti-hero.
I think they're gonna play it like a rom-com.
Yeah, where they fall
Yes.
in love.
And it's gonna
honestly, so it's like 2 symbiotes, 2 guys, no limits. That'll be
One
the
of them-
tagline on the poster because it's like it's Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson making out, but it's also Venom and Carnage. They like swap them back and forth like that Japanese thing where they swap the eggs back and forth through their mouth.
Oh,
Sorry,
oh
what?
no.
I'm
What?
not familiar
Why?
with
Post the GIF. Post the GIF.
that.
Put it in there, Casper. Do it. Get the GIF. I know you
I
know what
don't.
I mean.
I don't want to see this.
I'm curious. I'm actually.
I got it. Here it is. This is the one. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Oh. What movie is this? What is this from?
You know what? It's It's just a GIF. I think we might have to call it the Japanese egg mouths. It's. I don't think we're gonna get any better than that tonight.
No.
So I think that's where we cut it. We sign it off. Thank you very much for watching. If you were listening or doing any of those little
Give
things,
us a
we
follow.
really
Smash
appreciate
that
you.
like bell. Smash that bell for notifications.
Hit every single social media button that we put in that end card.
What do we have?
Go
We've
to the
got
description. Hit them there.
We've got a
Then
Got a
Twitter.
Twitter.
Is that an egg?
It is an
yolk?
egg yolk, Dustin. Yeah, that's what it is, and they're passing it back and forth.
All right. Thank you
that's a
for listening.